Hello and welcome. Coming to you from Microsoft's legal team's offices where somebody probably just got fired. I'm Josh.
And I'm John, and I've got some double stuff Nutty Buddies, but I think it's just the same as single stuff.
This is the Geek ETC podcast, where we dive into all things you can geek out about. Hello, friend.
Hi, Fran.
Welcome back.
I know. Good to hear your voice, sultry and smooth, and be with you here on the podcast.
I don't know that I would describe it as that, but, you know, I'll take it.
Someday, in the infinite, as many listeners as we'll have one day, somebody will think that about your voice, Josh.
One out of the however many,
you know, we might have gotten some fan mail. Who knows?
In like 10 years, when we've got like, you know, a couple thousand listeners.
Yeah.
Or like 1 million listeners. Or we're like right after Rogan.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever do that, but yeah.
Well, I don't want to claim to be that top of the list, but you know, we'll be modest at least.
Seems like busy work to me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a little crazy. We'll at least have some free time.
Yeah, I got the double. I was walking through the store hungry. I just got done rolling, and
rolling for people the uninitiated, meaning jujitsu.
Just got done with the jujitsu class. I was hungry. Walking through the store, I just got a phone call about a promotion at work, really oddly timed. And then as I'm walking through, I see Nutter Butters, like the Nutty Buddy things, like the cookies. And
well, now I need some explanation because there's Nutter Butter and Nutty Buddies.
Well, the cookies.
So they're the like peanut-shaped cookie things. Okay, yeah, because there's those, and then there's like the wafer things covered in chocolate.
Yes, which is like Little Debbie snacks. And it said that they were like double stuff, and I was like, oh, well, that's interesting because peanut butter is my favorite part, and so I want I don't like the cookies. I just want the peanut butter.
You know, you could just eat peanut butter as well.
I almost did, yeah, I almost said and but sure enough, I opened it up. They don't look different. It's not like a double stuff where there's like a noticeable difference, and the taste is the same. Like if I gave you one, you would. Like if I gave you a double stuffed Oreo and you'd only ever had double like regular Oreos, you'd be like, "What's up with this package?" Right?
Right.
But this time with the Nutty Buddies or whatever they are, Nutter Butters, they're like, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know the difference.
It's not that much of an incremental jump.
It's not. Whoever Nestle or whoever just messed up and made me sad. And I've watched that Netflix documentary on Where's My Jet, Pepsi or whatever, Pepsi, Where's My Jet? And to say that I'm also thinking about suing somebody is understatement.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but
it was from there was a points thing in like the 80s where they were like had giveaway points, and on one of the commercials it was like Harrier Jets 7 million points, and it was supposed to be some like unreachable thing, but they never had a disclaimer on it. So this dude figures out a way to get the points. Like you can actually just go online and buy the points, and he's got a rich friend, and so they have the requisite number of points plus the ones they purchased on there, and they're like, give me my Harrier. And Pepsi, like, it was a huge legal battle.
Wow. Put that fine print on there, otherwise you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, it was really, it's like a 4-part documentary on Netflix. It's kind of funny.
Dang. Yeah.
It's like a jovial themed thing. It's fun to listen to.
Is that where that F-35 disappeared to?
I don't know. Have we found that yet?
I thought I saw something about that it was found, but I haven't looked into it to find out.
As someone who has never flown an F-35 or any plane for that matter,
I've seen you fly planes. It was in Battlefield 3,
and I'm good at it. But F-35s, I think they're trash. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The F-22 Raptor, that's the way to go. You know,
A-10.
This well, the A-10's a little outdated. I think
I
know
come up
with something else. But like the F-35, come on, man, just scrap that program. It's a trash program, like the Osprey program with the Marine Corps. Like, how many more people have to die until like we retire the V-22 Osprey?
Hmm.
Silly.
Yeah, what I had heard, and I could be completely wrong about this, was that like the started losing control of all the systems and was kind of forced to eject out of the
Yeah.
plane or something. And because the
So
plane is built for stealth and like to like dissuade radar and all this stuff, like as soon as he ejected, it basically just disappeared. Like
mhm.
it just they couldn't see it on radars and stuff. It was just gone.
Which also poses an issue because there are peer powers of ours, i.e., the for the United States at least, which would be China. You got Russia, well, maybe Russia, but you got people that are like have stealth capabilities with fighter jets, and um, we should be able to detect those. So
Yeah,
a little
and
disappointing.
there may be a chance that we probably can. They just don't tell anybody about it.
Well, I don't think they would have put out there. They're like, "Hey, if you see our missing jet, U.S. Air Force, give us a call at this 1-800." I wonder how
Right,
many silly calls they got.
right. I mean, like I said, I thought I heard somewhere that somebody said they found it in South Carolina. So I don't
I
know,
believe
but that would be pretty wild just to be wandering through the woods and come across an F-35. Like, look at
I
that.
would love it if it landed in my backyard. I would have. They've been like, "Hey, what happened to the gun on this thing? Where's the Vulcan cannon at?" I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I have
Where's the
no
35
idea.
millimeter like Vulcan cannon or whatever?
Don't look in my garage. Whatever you do.
What is the big drag mark through the grass leading right to the house?
Exactly.
And why are the
Um,
wheels on your wheelbarrow broken? I don't know what's wrong with that.
uh, so tell me what's going on. So you mentioned that you wanted to talk about this Xbox leak today, and I
Yeah.
legitimately don't know anything about it.
Well, yeah. So it's apparently touted to be one of the biggest leaks in video game history.
Okay.
So essentially, there's like an ongoing trial, Microsoft versus the Federal Trade Commission, and
Didn't isn't that who Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan went to see
yeah, they got
above
trapped in the room
Naboo?
with gas, and it was a whole thing. Microsoft's trying to sue them because of that.
Ah,
So yeah, it's a problem. But there were, as part of this trial, there were documents submitted and made publicly available. But somebody, I don't know if it's a legal team or exactly who submitted or something, but somebody forgot to redact anything. And there's a ton of stuff in there. And
interesting.
the documents, I think it's like a slideshow, and I think it was from like 2020, so it's a few years old. And Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, came out and like did a whole thing where he basically said like, we hate to see our stuff, info come out like this, but um, just so you know, like because that's been a while, a lot of things in there have changed. Didn't really specify whether there's timelines or if things that were in progress aren't anymore or, whatever. But a lot of the stuff, has changed, but it's still a lot of interesting info.
Elder Scrolls 6 coming 2027.
Yeah, so Elder Scrolls 6 is in here.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually is part of it.
So is this where I read I saw a brief thing where it was like Phil Spencer really wants to buy Nintendo. Is that
Yes,
what it's okay, all right.
that's from this. Um,
Oh, right there, yeah.
yeah. So essentially, one of the big things was a new Xbox coming next year. So here's the graphic of it. Um,
Looks like a Amazon home.
that's the first thing I've heard everybody else refer to it as. It looks like either an Amazon Home product or an Apple product.
Yeah.
It's basically like an Xbox Series X, but if you cut all the corners off and made it a cylinder. So it's very round, but it's codenamed Brooklyn. And the slide touts it as an Xbox Series X refresh. And the biggest part of it is that there's no disk drive. So they're ripping out the disk drive and making it all digital. So
Okay.
it's essentially an all digital version of the Series X. but they're saying that by they're taking that away, but they're giving it a 2 terabyte hard drive. So
Whoa.
one that's one of the upgrades from it. In addition to that, you get faster Wi-Fi, which was like Wi-Fi 6, but which kind of sucks because like literally a couple days ago, Wi-Fi 7 was announced from Intel. So you know, but again, if this was from a few years ago, maybe that's one of those things that's already been updated. Who knows?
Yeah, you would think they would work with each other on that.
Right. Um, but it's gonna have like reduced power usage, for all the kind of green, side of things and all that. Um, let's see. Yeah, Wi-Fi better, Bluetooth 5.2 Bluetooth, so that would can mean things could, everybody's had the instance where they try to sync their Xbox controller to the console and it doesn't work. You'll do it 15 times and it won't sync, and then you'll try it once and it will.
Yeah.
So it'll lead to hopefully better stuff with that. Um, let's see. You got a USB-C front port with power delivery, so I'm guessing that means like you could charge your phone from the Xbox, I guess.
Well, could you have a wire? Is that for also any wired controllers or no? The
Yeah,
USB-C
I
is
mean
too small.
or no, yeah, you could have a. I guess that is what that is you can just plug your. Which you can do that now. You can plug your controller into the Xbox and charge it. So I guess it's
Hmm.
just saying it's the same deal. I think the change is from USB A to USB C, but it can still charge your controllers. The kind of oddball thing about it is that they in their slide they list it as the same great price of $499, but a lot of people are thinking you're taking out the hard drive and completely isolating any of those gamers who there's still people who operate from going to the store and buying a physical disc and playing off of it. And so none of those people will be able to use this with their discs, and they're still, you're taking out that big hardware thing and you're still keeping it the same price. Like I could understand, maybe not going to 399, but maybe like 449 kind of
Yeah.
thing. At least like $50 for the hard drive, I mean for the disk drive. But then they would say they're upgrading to 2 terabytes, so you got twice the hard drive size, which that would interest me. From not having to. I mean, I haven't really had to yet, at least install or uninstall games on my Series X like I did on the uh,
Xbox
Xbox
One.
One. Yeah, that I did all the time. That was a constant battle. But yeah, like, what are your initial thoughts about like the way that like the look and everything, like other than the Amazon deal?
I don't like it, to be honest. I don't like a circle thing is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. But Xboxes have always been pretty like a square thing to me, like rectangular. Even the new
Right.
ones don't even really feel like an Xbox so much.
It doesn't.
Um, it does now. I think what it is like this kind of minimalist take on it. So it
Yes.
is like a cylinder. It looks is it as tall as an Xbox Series X is currently?
So that's one thing that isn't listed is the actual like you've got the picture, but you don't. It doesn't really tell the size.
Because just looking at like the size of the logo and stuff, it feels like it's so looking at
Right.
the USB-C ports on the front.
That's what I was gonna say. Is if you compare it to the size of that USB-C port and use that as a judge, it seems like it's about the same size, maybe a little smaller.
I think it's a little bit shorter. I think
Yeah,
it's probably a little bit shorter because it doesn't have to take you don't have to deal with uh the disk drive, like they
which
said.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I was thinking is with the squareness of the Xbox Series X that the depth of it is basically that size was has to be that depth because it has to be the width of a disc. If you think about it. So if you
Mhm.
take that out, then you're not constrained by that big disk drive, and so you can make it smaller. But someone
Yeah,
was saying that it would be awesome if that was like the size of like a 22-ounce like soda or something, like a little smaller kind of thing. That would be pretty sick because you could just tuck that thing anywhere.
that would be cool. I think that's the one thing that's nice about the newer, modern, slimmer like consoles is that you're getting these things that kind of fit places. They look better. The wife will let you maybe keep them out and
Right.
about. That kind of thing. It's not ruining the aesthetic of the room. But one of the issues I have is, and I've seen this play out before is owning the actual hard product, you own it. You can do stuff with it, you know? Um, Everybody that has a Nintendo 64 still can still play their Nintendo 64, and they can still play the
Mm.
games on it, right? And one of the things I hate is that imagine someone puts out the best game ever, and then they have a mental episode and they say something stupid, they get canceled, and the game gets canceled, but you like the game, but you don't have a physical copy of the game, right?
Or
I
what's
think
happened
that's like
many times is a game will be on digital and you'll buy it and then it'll just get delisted off of the store.
yes,
And you're like,
exactly.
I can't play the game I paid $60 for?
Yes, and I think there has to be some type of recourse for that. I think that has to be looked at with the coming of like no, you know, DVDs and Bluetooth. I like or sorry, Blu-rays. I like those. I like owning those copies of things, but of course, I've moved very much so to digital
Yeah.
programs and movies. But I want to be able to watch those or play these games regardless of what a company feels like doing. You know,
Right.
company can't prevent me from opening my DVD player and putting something in there.
Mm.
Um, and I think that's an issue. So hopefully that's something that can be addressed. And I imagine there will be some legal concerns coming out eventually because I've heard the horror stories of people having stuff that they can't watch anymore, they can't play anymore. They've purchased these things and now they're gone from the stores. And I think it's going to take some lawsuits to be able to kind of work through this new thing and get some type of, you know, new terms and conditions for these types of
Right.
things.
I can see that. Yeah, and I feel kind of the same way that like I I don't have any physical media stuff now much because again, when it hit the point where you would had the game the disc and you'd put it in and it would still need a like 20-30 gig update or like things you had to download. You put the disc in and then download it to the console. I'm like, well then what's even the point?
Yeah, no, I think digital media makes a lot of sense. I think it is the way of the future, and you know, I want to see more of that. My only issue is that if I have it, I want to own it, and I don't want a company to be able to prevent me from playing it.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, that's the new console, the Brooklyn, codename Brooklyn.
Interesting.
Let's see if there's any other stuff on that. No. So there's a new controller. The controller's getting a update. Um, you can tell that they're kind of taking some cues from the PlayStation 5 controller with like a dual tone sort of thing. So like the top half of it is like a glossy white, and then the bottom of it is like a sort of textured feel to it.
Looks like a cow's udders.
If it was more pink, maybe.
I've seen
But
some black teats.
there is yeah, they do have the Microsoft like design labs where you can go and make, customize your controllers and stuff and make custom colors and change the button colors and all that sort of stuff. So if when this comes out, if you want to make a cow udder controller, you go right ahead. It might
I
be
like it.
something you do.
I like
But yeah,
it.
the new controllers, they've got they've got better Bluetooth, which could uh, again lead to better, faster syncing with your consoles, or if potentially your phone if you're doing like a mobile gaming or something. It also has a thing called Direct to Cloud, which I think was a thing kind of back if you remember the Google Stadia, which was kind of a failed console thing from a number of years ago. But the controller has a direct to cloud connection. So if you're doing cloud gaming, like you're streaming from your Xbox onto your phone or something, the controller connects directly to the cloud, which would, in theory, reduce latency a good bit.
That's good. Yeah, really reduce like input time and all that.
Right. So in theory, if you're playing, remotely through the Xbox app on your phone or a tablet or something, then it would feel just like you were playing on the console, which that would be pretty cool. And I would be all about that. Um, let's see.
Yeah, like right now I use GeForce Now a lot for where my PC gaming. But I very rarely have I noticed some latency issues with it. But for the most part, um, even right now, just like even with my wireless mouse, I don't have a whole lot of issue with my
Hmm.
input.
Right.
So
And I think there's still some room for improvement, but I definitely think the whole world of stream gaming is gonna really expand over the next number of years, where you don't even have to download any games anymore.
yeah,
But they're all just
dude,
stored somewhere else. As long as you have a decent internet connection, you just connect and play remotely.
yeah, and it's been working great for me, with the exception of one of there's a game I like to play called Warno, and it's a strategy game. I'm not good at it, but I play it. And for my buddies were trying to play, and GE Force had not updated it. Even so, a simple update that would have taken me like 30 minutes to do, because it wasn't like the most popular game. It took 4 or 5 days to get
Oh
done.
no.
And I made a ticket request, and then like the next day I tried to play, it was on there. So I don't know if that
You're
helped
the one who
anything.
pushed it over the edge.
Maybe.
Okay, we got a rogue request for some like little game. What is this game? I
Yeah.
don't know. Just update it. Open Steam. But it says here too that there's like the controller has like seamless pair and switch, so you can manage devices. So you might be able to have the controller just connect. Like you could have it connected to your phone and your Xbox and your computer, and just switch in between them when you need. Like if you just want to use your Xbox controller on like a Steam game, you could just instantly switch it and be ready to go. So that would be pretty cool. I would definitely use that. One thing that the Xbox controller has desperately needed and PlayStation has been way ahead of for a long time is rechargeable batteries
Yeah.
in the controller, a rechargeable and swappable battery. So no more like swapping out AA batteries, 1,000 times in a month for your Xbox controllers. It's got a rechargeable battery, so that's awesome. Um, it also apparently has like quieter buttons and sticks and things are just like smoother. It has an accelerometer in it as well. Not, I think a lot of that relates to similar to the PlayStation with DualSense controllers is you can have that better haptic feedback in like the triggers and in the controller and stuff. And so even like things will change depending on how hard you press the triggers and stuff.
Mm.
Um, so it'll be basically a lot more immersive controller that will have a lot more feedback as to things you're doing in the game. So that'll be pretty cool. I'm excited about that. And it says on here same ergonomics as Merlin, which I think was a code name for the Elite control, or was it the Elite controllers or whatever, like the ones with like the paddles and all that
Elite,
stuff,
yeah, the
like
ones where you could like, yeah,
pro controllers and stuff, or pro controllers in Nintendo. Um, yeah, so that's pretty cool.
2028. All right, I was one
Yeah,
year off with my Elder Scrolls thing.
right. But yeah, they go into basically like it was kind of their timeline for how they were going to operate things like going forward and stuff. Um, but the leaked document states their ultimate goal is to develop a next generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experience. So that right there kind of relates to what I was just saying about cloud gaming, and that will probably be a much higher utilized service.
Yeah, cloud gaming definitely seems like it's going to be the future.
Right. And so like and that's kind of saying that like their next gen console, if what we have now is current gen, and the next gen would probably be around 2028. So still a ways out. But in that there was a bunch of Bethesda, because Microsoft bought ZeniMax Studios and Bethesda. There was a bunch of game leak info in there as well. Um, it outlined their roadmap through fiscal year 2024. So along games we know of, like the Indiana Jones game, the list also includes several codename projects, such as remasters of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion and Fallout 3.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so a remaster of both of those games, if well, and that's one thing I heard. Discussion I heard was like now. I don't know if it was such a thing then, but now there's a big difference between remaster and remake. So a remaster oftentimes is, it's got updated, textures and, may run at 60 frames or higher resolution. But ultimately, a lot of the assets and the gameplay and other things are still the same. They've just been, like it says, remastered a little bit. Unlike a remake where everything's built from the ground up on current engine tech, on
Yeah.
current game engines. And I don't know if at that time in 2020, if those terms were kind of synonymous, or if like they each were kind of separated at that time, because that was before a lot of the like Resident Evil remakes and the Last of Us remakes and all that stuff. Because a remaster of Elder Scrolls or Elder Scrolls 4 or Fallout 3, I don't know would necessarily do that great. They would sell some, but I don't think it would be really a big deal. But if they were remakes, especially Elder Scrolls 4, if it was a remake on the Starfield engine, the new like for Xbox Series X engine that Starfield uses, that could be pretty awesome. I feel like that would be my opportunity to actually play that because I never played that Elder Scrolls 4. And so if it was like in the Starfield engine, like, fresh and modern and updated, I'd probably play it then. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see, like, especially some of the older ones that, like, I also haven't played. Um, I don't know that remakes are always the best. Like, I don't feel like that's gonna make a lot of money. So still though, I mean, if anything, they should just do another release of Skyrim.
They haven't had any of those.
No, we haven't had any of those. I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, just keep pumping out for hopefully Elder Scrolls 6 is worth the wait, but, we've talked last episode about some of the issues that Starfield has had, and, even when I'm scrolling now, so when I scrolled for, like, people playing Baldur's Gate, it was always, like, really interesting, crazy things or whatever. It was never bugs.
Mm.
Even when it first came out. Now when I'm scrolling, I see guys on there, they're like, it's just all bugs that are happening on Twitch streams. And that's the gist, like the most of it. I mean, they're having fun. They like the game, but I don't know. Like,
That's the like meme content that's going around is related to bugs in the game,
yeah, exactly.
as opposed to Baldur's Gate, where the memes are just based on the actual interesting characters and things being put in meme situations and stuff. So in addition to that, they also had a couple other ones, a Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, which it's kind of surprising that that's even a thing. Something called Doom Year Zero, so which sounds like a Doom prequel.
Huh.
Yeah, just not sure what that's about. I haven't really played any of the Doom games, but it'd be interesting just to see that. And then Dishonored 3, which I would be excited for Dishonored 3. I really liked the Dishonored games. They were kind of like a fresh take on. They're one of the few that kind of really feel that stealth gameplay that I, haven't really had much since like Splinter Cell.
My wife liked watching me play the first one for some reason.
Mm.
I don't know why. I think it was because I carried the heads around of people like decapitated. Just like hover them in the air and think I would throw them at people.
Yeah, that's the thing you could do. But another document in there confirmed that Elder Scrolls 6 won't launch until at least 2026.
Elder Scrolls 6 won't launch till 2026.
Yeah,
I was 1 year off,
exactly.
and
That's what I'm
I was
saying.
making that is hilarious. That is so long. I think that's one of the problems with these big AAA game developers is they have so many things in the work. They really just need to split them up more. I don't know. Like, how hard is it going to be to so that's 2 years away from a brand new Xbox. It's like
Mhm.
I would rather it be a launch game for the new Xbox,
Well,
honestly. I'd
and
rather
and it
wait 2 more.
probably, that's what I'm saying. If the new Xbox comes out 2020, and again, some of these dates might have changed, so it could be a launch title with the new Xbox potentially. But another thing in this regarding that it also said it can confirm in the Elder Scrolls 6 won't it will be an Xbox exclusive. It won't be on PlayStation, which makes sense
That's a
because they
big
bought them.
that's a big W for for Xbox.
No
I mean, it's
kidding.
such a
Like,
loved game.
I mean, that's going to be probably one of the biggest, best, or at least one of the biggest Xbox exclusives since like the early Halos,
The Halo, yeah,
which is
exactly.
like 20 something years. So I think when we get there in a number of years, if the world still exists in 2026, then as far as game stuff goes, that's going to be a big deal. Thankfully, we here at Geek ETC primarily live in the Xbox PC world, so
Yeah.
we'll play it, I'm sure. But I'll go ahead and say now, my prediction is it won't have co-op
Oh, you know it's not going to have co-op
because it's a freaking Bethesda RPG thing, like where you get immersed in your own world by yourself in a loneliness.
because they should have been working on this game. I mean, I know Starfield was what they were like really focusing on forever, but the Elder Scrolls 6 is like the thing that everybody's looking forward to. And coming from Bethesda, like if anybody was like to say, well, if I could just have one more Bethesda game, what would it be? Everybody's going to want the Elder Scrolls 6. And I would hope now that they see like with Baldur's Gate and these other games, like how much fun people are having, you
Playing
know,
together.
playing together in a co-op setting. But I don't think they can handle it. I don't think they can do it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, there was another thing which like you had mentioned. There was something talking about Microsoft considering acquiring Nintendo and Warner Brothers Interactive.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I don't I don't have any idea what that would even look like if Microsoft bought Nintendo. I mean, it potentially could. Well, I guess that's technically. I was gonna say like thinking about the Pokemon games. If they made like a Xbox quality level like high end Pokemon game or something, that would be pretty sick. But that's kind of owned by like the Pokemon company and stuff. So I don't know if that would be a property or not. But I don't
It'd
know.
be wild to have like a Super Smash Brothers
I was
with
gonna say
exclusive
that
Xbox characters, like have
we
Master
would.
Chief.
Oh, Master Chief would be in Super Smash Brothers for sure. What would be some other Xbox characters that if they made that merge that would be in a Super Smash Brothers?
Wasn't wasn't Mass Effect originally a Xbox exclusive?
The first one, yeah,
The
but yeah, it
first
was. Yeah,
one,
so yeah, I could see Commander Ship. I'd be cool
or
if I had
even
FemShep on there.
FemShep, or
Rex,
I almost said Rogan, but yeah, the Krogan Rex would be cool.
Krogan,
He would be awesome to have on there. And Garrus, my
the
boys.
the Joe Krogan podcast. That needs to be a thing.
I'm gonna tell you about the genophage.
They're making us all sterile.
Solarians put some stuff in the water, making the Krogans not have babies.
Oh my god.
Deep cut for you guys.
Yes.
For anybody that played Mass Effect.
But yeah, that'd be cool. Have one of them on there. Let's see. You would just have a car from Forza. It just drives around running over people.
Oh, like the little intro thing, yeah. Like, because my favorite map was from the original Super Smash Brothers was like Star Fox's ship, and
Yeah.
I'm just imagining the intro scene where you just see it come in there and it just runs everyone over.
Just driving back and forth. It's a
Yeah.
Bugatti or something.
What's that? Isn't there like a meme about like a Bugatti? Like
I mean,
a
there's probably
sound
Bugatti
there's a
memes.
TikTok sound, like a Bugatti TikTok sound thing
Oh,
that's
there's a song called "Woke Up in a Bugatti" or
oh,
"Woke
that's
Up
it.
in a New
That's it.
Bugatti."
That's it. That's
Yeah,
100% it.
yeah, that would definitely
Even
be a thing.
well, with Bethesda being owned by Microsoft, you could have like the
Oh,
atypical whatchamacallit, the atypical Dragonborn from
Yeah,
like
have the
a
Dragonborn.
release with that stupid horned helmet on and like the studded leather
Yep.
armor.
That like that. Yeah. The pinnacle of what the Dragonborn looks like and all the marketing stuff is like the worst iron armor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, all of it's like the worst armor in the game. But yeah, you'd totally have a Dragonborn in there. That'd be neat. Or it's just like rail off of Riverwood. It's not even the Dragonborn.
Yeah, that's
Or
funny.
just Alvor or something. Yeah, so that was pretty much most of the big leaks from that. So that there's a lot of stuff in there. Definitely some interesting things. Yeah, again, not a huge fan of the look of the console, but we'll see where it goes.
Should be a pyramid.
Ooh, but then people would just claim that it's some kind of Illuminati device that's going to brainwash you.
So, in other news, and this is the news that you normally like to bring up. Did you see the thing from Mexico, the Mexican Senate thing?
The little supposed alien bodies that they revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we haven't talked about those since our last show.
Yeah. So while we were recording, I just posted the news. So this is hot off the presses 45 minutes ago. You ready for it? Controversial 1,000-year-old alien bodies, quote, this is in quotation marks, that were recently presented in Mexico to the government have now been passed through lab tests, reports Zero News. The investigation found that the mummies were recently made. They were created from animal and human bones joined together with synthetic glue. The bones in turn were covered with a mixture of plant fibers and synthetic glue to simulate skin. And the report from the Institute of Legal Medicine said the report from the Institute of Legal Medicine for Forensic Science in Peru. So,
really, that could just came out.
That just came out.
That's strange because they had a 2 days ago. They did a live stream where they live streamed tests on those bodies. They did X-rays and like CT scans and MRIs and all that stuff, and they were saying, like, the doctors and scientists in the live stream said at that time while they're doing the test that their determination was that the skeletal structures weren't made up of multiple parts and that they were that it was a single skeleton and that it wasn't man-made. So everything that they said was complete opposite of that, like in every way. And that was just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Huh.
So really, I know that the guy that presented it at Congress apparently, or to their Congress, I don't know what the Mexican Congress is.
Their government of some kind.
Their government, their Senate, their, whatever. That guy had been like caught faking stuff before. So.
Well, when he initially revealed these bodies in 2017, these things were first shown back then, people said that they debunked them as man-made, citing the same thing, that it was small animal parts and all that sort of stuff. That's what they said back then.
I mean, when I watched it in depth. I watched it translated. Some of the doctors they had on there. Now it's hard for me to tell because it's in another language, right? And I don't want to be I think I have like where I'm automatically not dismissive because I'm like, I don't want to be dismissive of doctors from another country just because I don't speak the language. Like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. I think I had that bias going in. However, when I watched everything, I was like, oh, this seems like really weird. Like, the mummies look stupid, but but then like when I saw them moving them around, I was like, okay, that looks super. It looks a little.
It looks like weird. It looks a little too paper mache, in a way.
Very much paper mache.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't again. So it seems that there's very conflicting analyzations of these things. Who knows? Maybe we'll hear more in the coming days or weeks. But for a moment, again, even if it is fake, I was telling somebody the other day that it really reminds me of something we talked about on a number of shows ago with that fake Bigfoot capture that we saw a number of years ago, those two cops or whatever. Like it
Yeah.
feels very similar kind of thing. Like we finally have them, and here they
Mhm.
are.
Yep.
And then you're like, I mean, I want to be excited. You're showing me something I've been waiting for my whole life. Like I really want to be excited, but it's sure hard to be excited about this because I don't trust anything anymore. So I don't know. It was interesting to see, but yeah, I'm not convinced of anything yet. So at least regarding those Peru mummies. But yeah, that was a wild one.
That was wild. Yeah, I just saw it. It's literally as we were talking, and we were talking about the thing. I posted it on our Geek ETC Instagram. I posted it
Nice.
in our stories, so that's on there. Um, I mentioned Warno earlier. It's so
Oh yeah, you've been
I just
talking about this game a number of for a little bit here, and like I had never heard of it, and you like just you showed me a little bit of it earlier, and it looks really interesting. But
yeah,
tell me
it's
about
by
that.
Eugen, like EUGEN Studios, and it's just such a. I had never played this kind of strategy game that didn't necessarily have a ongoing campaign type thing where it was just battles for the most part. But it's just a neat
Mm,
so it's a Cold War era, like 1980s um division building game that you then fight the like military divisions against each other. So there's like kind of a NATO forces and kind of like a communist forces. And there are different divisions, just like United States, we have like the 82nd Airborne, the 101st Airborne, the Third Armored Division, the Third Infantry Division. You have those divisions, and they have French ones and British ones and Russian ones and German, like East and West Germans. And each of those divisions has different units that they can have, and some of them have like units that are the same across a couple different divisions, like basic infantry and things. But you build these decks of infantry based on there's like a accrual rate for different. For armored division, you can't have as many infantry, and the infantry costs more to put in your deck than adding tanks would, for example. But you typically get less tanks per card than you would infantry. And you go in, it's a huge map, but you can be all the way zoomed out, and then you can zoom all the way, like you can zoom all the way in and watch the combat happening on the ground. But and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It's just it's hard to like get down there because it's such a hectic thing. And so I've been playing that some, playing some 10 on 10s, 10 versus 10s. We played a 3 versus 3 last night where we got stomped. But fun game. If you're into strategy games, definitely check it out. But it's, I guess, Steel Division 2 and Steel Division 1, Eugen has also made. And I think this game was also based on another one called, I think it was Project Red Dragon or Project, I think it was Project Red Dragon, which was another, I think, an earlier predecessor to this Warno game. But it's been really fun. It's one of those games where I've actually had to like go to boot camp for it. Like I'm having to learn. Like I'm watching YouTube videos on how to do things, and that's kind of fun. Like I'm having to watch YouTube videos on like quick buttons and like how to
mm.
best deploy troops
So,
to the front and that
so
kind
you're
of
actually
thing.
having to like do the modern version of the old strategy guide
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of
Yeah.
thing. It's been a while since I've had to do that for a game. That it's
Yeah.
really I've had to like look up like, all right, how do I actually do this?
Because I mean, most multiplayer games, I feel like I do okay at. Even like like for strategy games, like even Total War Rome 2, where I would fight battles. I had fought some multiplayer games then, and even the ones I lost, I didn't feel bad about. But there are some games online with Warno where I just get trashed, and it made me feel better because the guys that I'm playing with are a little higher level than me, and they're my buddies, and so they don't care. But we played a 3v3 last night against people with comparable levels, and they smashed us. Um, about the 30-minute mark, we're like, okay, we should probably just surrender. Like they've got it.
Mm,
And one of my buddies was running out of units, and I had still plenty of units left. But man, I was like, how do they have so many soldiers to keep throwing into this? Like, we've killed so many of them, and they keep gaining ground, and it's just such a. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot. It's also one of those games where I found that like communication is really important, but really hard to do because you're so focused on putting a single tank or an infantry squad in like the best possible spot in your assigned area of the, wherever you like, you amongst your friends have decided like, hey, you hold the right flank, I'll hold the
Hmm.
center. And that sometimes you guys don't even talk, or you'd be like, hey, oh, I need some help with helicopters over here, but
Right.
that's about it. But it's definitely like a fast paced, really interesting strategy game. And if you're into that kind of thing, or you like Steel Division, definitely try out Warno.
Yeah. How long do the like the matches usually run?
I think like typical multiplayer, like the standard is 30 minutes or until somebody gets all the, enough points to win.
Okay.
So whoever has
So
the most
not
points at the end of 30,
not quite as long as a squad game.
no, not quite. Well, I we play primarily Invasion with squad, so Invasion, if you don't take the first point, it's usually a pretty short game.
That's true. It
I've
could that like a squad really could be like short, or it can go for a while.
Yeah, if you play out an Invasion game and people are doing really well managing their tickets and you're fighting on there, I played one last night with my buddy Ethan, and um, we were asking the same thing. We're like, how do they have so many tickets? Because it was the U.S. Army attacking the irregular guys, which are kind of like the Chechens, like attacking regular militia, and the Chechens kind of have all these like gimmicky weapons and um, you know they're not the best equipped, but they're fun to play. And we had a recoilless rifle truck that we were on, and the U.S. Army was attacking a tunnel system. And so we were actually far away, just lobbing these explosive rounds into the area where they were attacking the tunnels because they couldn't just enter the tunnels because they were trying to get in there. They're smoking it, and we're killing them. We're sending them over there. We're killing them so much so that they were sending like entire squads over to handle us, and then we were having to spawn back and get back on our truck and like start shooting again.
Jeez.
But it took way longer than I would have thought. Like they did a really good job managing their tickets for as many kills as we got.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the little bit that you showed me of it, it like I've loved our the time we were playing back in, you mentioned earlier, Total War Rome 2. Like
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. Again, I'd like to maybe dip back into that again at some point. But
I would too.
that was, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my Baldur's Gate, uh, my Baldur's Gate 3 save files are too big. I can't download it right now, and Rome Total War is not on GE Force now, so that's been like kind of an annoying thing for me.
We got to get you a bigger hard drive or something, or bigger computer for gaming.
I
Because
love my
like having
computer.
to,
I just need more hard drives.
yeah, you just need more hard drive space. That sucks. But
Somebody can figure that out for me. Let me know.
yeah. Um, but yeah, like that one, it definitely. I was kind of always hesitant to play all those games because they just look there's so much system management in it that it just looks so overwhelming. And the little bit you showed me of that one, like even having played Total War and kind of understood some of the management in that, like this one, it looks like there's just so much stuff.
There is so much stuff, but it's once you get into it, like once obviously it's just like playing Monopoly, for the first time. Um, if you were just to like read the rule book of Monopoly and just and like, okay, it seems like a lot of things going on,
Mm,
especially if you're like playing rules as written, or that kind of thing. But once you're actually playing it, you're able to kind of like, especially with somebody else, if you're playing a multiplayer game with your buddy against the computer forces, it's pretty easy to be like, okay, hey, this is what you should do. Put your anti-aircraft
yeah.
guns here, put your tank here. You got to use recon to kind of scout out
I feel like that's
and
kind of
spot
the
stuff.
best way to get into those strategy games like that is to have a mentor of sorts, like you did
Yeah.
with me with Total War. Like like someone who's like, I know how to play it. I know what they're, they know what they're doing, and they can just kind of guide you through it.
Well, and Rome 2 is nice as well because not only that, but I could set you up with a faction where you still felt like you were having fun, but like, you liked playing with the Spartans, right? And the Spartans have spears and they're not a very offensive force that requires a lot of micromanagement. And that's
Right, you
something I
kind of
feel like,
set up your line and then just hold.
yeah, with a little bit of flanking here and there. Where I really love like swords, spears, and I love cavalry, and so I like using cavalry, and that's one of those things.
Right.
If you're not microing your cavalry in those kind of games, then you're losing them quick, and they're a really important thing to
And yeah,
have.
the cavalry can really kind of turn the tide on some of those things fairly quickly too. So being able to manage them well is helpful.
And then you've got games like, Crusader Kings 3, Crusader Kings 2, some of the other uh, Paradox. I think it's Paradox Interactive games. Like Stellaris is one, but I don't put Stellaris in the same
Mm.
realm as those. Where
Another one that I would
there's,
like to get into, but
oh yeah,
talk about overwhelming. That one just it scared me away.
well, that's another one I think we should just play together. Honestly, it's on GE Force now. I think that would be a blast to get into
Mm.
a game, especially with a couple other guys too. Like, because you could have a campaign with more than two people on that versus AI forces or whatever. But like Crusader Kings 3, for example, is mostly just like a family simulator. Like, it's a lot of decisions, a lot of incest if you want to do that. But there's
Ew.
well, there's some interesting like achievements you can get for like I think there's like one for like having like a really messed up child, like, because you'll get like genetic defects from
Oh,
it.
geez.
And so, like, which is like classic medieval stuff, but like Crusader Kings 3 was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. I created my own family and put them, in there. But that game is something that, like, even for me as a strategy guy, it took me a second to figure that out because, you know, it's more of like a big decision maker and little decision maker thing than it is like a map painter. Like Rome Total War 2 is kind of a map painter where you take over all these places and you turn them into your color essentially, where you grow your empire. And Crusader Kings 3 is like, well, grow your empire, yeah, but you can start out as lowly as like a just a baron and have like a very small county and have like no money incoming, and you have to, when you do send soldiers out, they just attack each other. There's no real animations for it, and you don't get to decide. Like, you don't have any personal say in the win or losing part. Now, there has been an interesting um, mod that came out with Crusader Kings 3 where they took Bannerlord, right? So Mountain Blade Bannerlord, and if you have to have both games downloaded, but the battle will actually turn into a Mountain Blade Bannerlord game, and you'll get to go in and actually lead your soldiers
Oh my
from there
gosh.
and have
That's
like that.
crazy.
That is cool, and I think people need to understand that people would love that kind of thing because, when you think about strategy games, I think you have like your big 4X games, like, your Stellaris and those
So
games. You have your
you're
Crusader
playing
Kings, you have your Warno.
Total War Rome 2, and then you like go into a battle in Greece, and then it just like transitions and you're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, which I think that's an awesome thing to have. I think it would be neat to have some type of strategy game that, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a bunch of different types of strategy games, like, real time strategy. I would say Warno is a real time strategy game. I say there's definitely 4X games where like there's much broader, you know, things going on than just taking places over, like your Crusader Kings or Stellaris, where you have to think about empire management. And then you have things like Command and Conquer or Age of Empires, where you are single units fighting each other at a time, um, base building. Those are a lot of fun. I think something that can mix all of those would be nice. Now, with that said, Squad has a mod that they've been working on and doing where it is actually the commander of the game. So you load into that mod server, they actually base build like overhead like a Command and Conquer game, and then they buy units, and then the individual players are in the units. So it's almost like you get to play Command and Conquer as one of the guys, and that's kind of an interesting thing as well. But I don't know. I like strategy games a lot. I wish I was better at most of them, but they are something, especially when you can put like your own personal touch on things. Like I like Stellaris. You know, you can write an entire backstory on your alien race that you create that nobody else cares about. But I like that they did that, and yeah, I think Stellaris would be a fun game for us to play together.
We might have to check that out after I get back from Japan.
I think. Oh, not much longer, right?
Yeah, like this time next month we'll be there.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we need to start recording some
Gets
short
it's
sessions.
agreed. We need to get some in the bank.
Next week seems like we're gonna have to get the bank up. Yeah, man, that's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. I know you've been dreaming of this forever. I'm glad that you and your wife are really um able to do it. We've talked about it a bunch, but it's a huge deal for us. You know, it's a huge deal for
Yeah.
me.
I mean, it's one of
And
the biggest. It's going to be one of the biggest defining moments in my life. Honestly,
oh
it's been
yeah.
a bucket list thing my entire life. Even outside of it being our honeymoon and just being like the longest vacation I've ever had, just going there in general is something that I've wanted to do forever. So I'm very excited. Starting to get in that nervous phase a little bit, which is understandable. But yeah, my wife actually just told me she just got a couple more tickets today for some different attractions and things that we were going to go see.
Oh,
So for one of the aquariums at the Tokyo Sky Tree. So
that's
that's
so
pretty
cool.
cool. It's going to be a little nerve wracking in the Sky Tree because the lower platform is 350 meters in the air, and I don't do great with heights. I get some vertigo, so it's I'm gonna have some. My palms are sweaty. I'm gonna have some mom spaghetti going up in that tower for sure. And the taller tower, which we're also doing, is 450 meters. So outside of outside of an airplane, that'll be like the highest point I've ever been, probably, like in a structure.
Well, this will be also the biggest city you've just ever been in. I mean,
Oh,
not
by
Tokyo is like one of the biggest
I mean,
cities
it's
in the
like it.
world, obviously, but
It's the biggest city in the world. So yeah,
yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like you've not been to. Have you ever been to New York City or Chicago or
the
Los
biggest one I
Angeles?
went to was I went to Seattle for a music festival.
Seattle's big, yeah. Okay,
That's a fairly a fairly big city. So I drove through Atlanta. So
I fought in Atlanta a couple times.
mm, sanctioned or unsanctioned.
We don't talk about that.
Ah, I
The
see.
statute of limitations isn't over yet.
I
Um,
see what you're saying. Cool.
uh, yeah, I think that's one of those like obviously like it's usually what between Tokyo, Mexico City, and like
Mm-hmm. Forget.
Delhi and
Yeah,
New York
there, that
City for like
I think
biggest cities, like
there's like
most populous.
one in I don't know if like Hong Kong or I think there's one in China too, or maybe they were India or something. We said New Delhi, but yeah, like I'm really looking forward to those. Being a accountant. No, I'm definitely not an accountant. Being a country mountain boy for most of my life, it's I'm really looking forward to those like big city vibes.
Oh
Like
yeah.
walking downtown, walking through the streets at night, like when the stars are out and there's like but it's still
What's
lively and active.
what's your have you got your soundtrack ready yet? You got like a
Oh,
Blade Runner soundtrack or something going on?
of course.
Good.
And I'd be playing a lot of the Midnight Gunship, FM 84. Uh, got a few things lined up.
You got to
I,
make
I
at least one friend there that we can have on the show.
oh yeah, that would be awesome. Like I'm looking forward to the time when I can be on a rooftop of a building, like kind of like just leaning on like the edge of the rooftop, listen to the city sounds while I have like the midnight or something like playing in my headphones, and just like looking out over the city. Gonna be awesome.
That'll be nice.
Um,
That will be really nice.
one other, I guess, just another little unrelated thing, but I just wanted to tell you, and you're here, so I figured I would tell you. The patch 3 comes out for Baldur's Gate tomorrow.
Ooh, do we have any idea what's going to be on that?
They said it's going to be a pretty big one. Um, but the only really thing they've told from it is there's a new item in your camp called the magic mirror.
Oh, where you can adjust your appearance?
That you can change your appearance and your voice and all that stuff. You can't change your race or body type, and you can't alter the origin characters stuff. They specified they're all very particular about their hair, so you can't change your like companions. But like, there's a lot of people talking about that. They made their initial character, and then halfway through Act One, they realized like whatever hairstyle they chose is just kind of stupid, or they're like bald and they didn't mean to be.
I
And
don't
so
mind. I don't mind people doing like changing their hair, but yeah, if you were able to change your race or something like that, that would kind of tick
it
me
could
off.
get a little funky. Yeah,
I yeah, I don't even love being able to change your stats necessarily, but
I don't mind
just
that. I
'cause
think that's fun.
I think it is too. But it'd be nice if like on tactician maybe you couldn't. You know,
I could I
um,
could I could totally be fine if that was just a setting you could turn off. Or like if you were on the hard difficulty, it didn't allow for that, or like some kind of equivalent of like a survival mode or something.
it just gets too like you and I are not metagamers at all in real Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
Um, I don't think so. At least like I don't like I the game that I play in on Fridays, every other Friday, I am, an air genasi wizard who uses a lot of like, you know, air style spells. Like, I don't have fireball. I have lightning
Yeah.
bolt, right? And I remember we were playing the game and the guys were like, um, somebody said, without knowing, because it was the first like one big combat encounter we got into, he's like, "Who takes lightning bolt?" And then I was literally next, and I was like, I clicked the button on roll 20 for lightning bolt. I was like, I do because I'm not metagaming because my character wouldn't have fireball,
Yeah.
really, not right now at least. And so
Right.
it's just one of those things. But like, I know you've changed your stats a couple times. I really just
But and a lot of that is just like it's my first time, playing through on this
true,
class, and I just want to
true,
see what else they can do.
true, and I get that
Like
100%.
from a just fun gameplay thing, like I just want to play the different subclasses, and like I stayed within the same class, stayed as a monk, but checking out the different subclasses,
Yeah.
which is cool.
It is a great game. We've had a lot
But
of good games lately.
yeah, I sent the picture of the with them talk about the magic mirror to my wife, and then she was just like in all caps, just like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like, "That fixes all my problems." So because like she has two kind of characters she was playing, and like she wasn't necessarily happy with one of the like visual things she did with her one of her characters and stuff, and so like she was even like debating maybe like changing, like restarting some things or this or that, but she's like, oh yeah, now I can just fix it all, so that's awesome. And so we were talking about she might, it's been a little while, but I think she might dive back into it this weekend and continue her quest, which I'm excited to watch because I like watching her play it.
It's a fun game to watch, honestly. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's a good game to watch. Um, yeah, man. What a fun time. What a fun time to be alive.
it
Awesome
is a
new
fun time.
games, awesome fun things to do, podcasts
Maybe
to listen to.
aliens.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, a lot of good stuff.
Oh, I did want to tell you this is also a thing. This is also just Josh and John news for you. Is that Ben, one of our guests who's been on the show, is and um, whose page is Sci-Fi or Die. He does like a lot of kit bashing model stuff. He is coming back to North Carolina, I think, later in the year, or in sorry, like fall, like I think the spring or summer.
Oh,
And
like next year?
yeah, I think he wants to commission us doing I think he wants to commission us going to Brown Mountain Lights and really doing an investigation on it, like having people on the other ridges
Ooh.
and doing all that. So I think that'll be fun.
Speaking of
Make our
which,
first Geek ETC documentary.
that would be. I'm all down for that. That'll happen. Alrighty, I think with that we will call it a close for today.
Yep. Thanks for chatting with us. Thanks for hanging around while we chat. and listening to me ramble about Warno and hearing the leaks from Microsoft. We appreciate you guys. This is like the busiest couple months that Josh and I have. So the
Yeah, right.
episodes we've been really busy IRL in real life, and so just thanks for sticking with us, and we appreciate you guys.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely be, especially when I get back from Japan. You know, we'll have the holidays, so things might be a little tricky with that. But definitely, I know, after the first year, then we'll have a lot more things coming to fruition. So looking forward to all that. But yeah, if you are interested in more, go check us out on all the social media platforms, Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. You can find us at Geek ETC Podcast. You can search that in YouTube as well and find our channel. Listen to the podcast there. Check out our posts on Instagram. And if you enjoyed what you hear and you want to help, support this show, and help us continue doing what you're doing, you can head over to patreon.com/geeketc podcast. For as little as $1 a month, you can join there and become part of the crew. And with certain tiers, you can also get access to our our Discord server that we have. With Geek ETC Discord, you can go on there and chat with us there and talk about a bunch of different geeky topics. And that's where you can get some updates, some heads up on some updates of things we're working on.
Yep, and just general news and fun stuff that we post in the different categories that we have. So,
yeah. Alrighty.
Well, just remember, geeks fight better together.
They do. Whether it be in Warno or in legal battles with Microsoft. But either way, whatever you do in life, always remember to keep geeking out.